Welcome to this week's edition of Hardly Working Through It, the show where we get into the good, the bad, the ugly. We deep dive into life, love, and labor. I am SP.
And I'm Kelly. And today we're going to be talking to SP about the date he went on with 4 people at the same time. I'm going to be asking the hot questions that y'all want to know about how it went, that I want to know about how it went. Wow. And most importantly, find out which one was the hottest. Are you ready?
I am very ready. How honest do you want me to be then?
As honest as you can give me.
Couple things. It was 5 people, not 4. Was it a date? Yes.
Weren't you the 5th person?
No, I was the 6th person.
Oh,
wait a minute.
No, you were the 5th person.
I was the 5th. It was supposed to be 5 other people, but somebody didn't show up.
Are you sure?
Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 in total.
Yep.
So yeah, 4 other people. Dang it, you're totally right.
I'm right.
She's got questions. I just want to say one thing before the interview starts, especially because I was like, I guess I'm just going to describe this, and then you're like, no, I got questions.
Maybe I have questions.
But I will say this: I've never seen you
intro
hot
like
and ready to go like this. You came in with so much energy, and I'm ready. All right, Kelly,
I'm coming for your job.
Do you want me to describe it at all, or do you just want to ask?
I just want to ask.
Yeah.
Let's read it. Listen,
Tell
SP signed up for an app.
Yeah, it's called Tinder.
No, it's called Time Left Tinder. Called Grinder, actually.
Oh, hey. Hey, you know what? I'm not here to discriminate. If you're on Grinder, go for it.
Yeah, for sure. It's called Time Left, which sounds bad.
It's morbid. Well, it sounds morbid.
Yeah,
but it's not.
I don't have very much time left, so I'm gonna hang out with some friends. But the whole point of the app is truly to help you meet people in your area. And so you sign up, and I did it. I didn't go all the way through, but I did it. But it asks you specific questions.
Stuff about your
age, your gender,
type of job you have,
what industry you're in.
Are you extroverted or introverted?
Yeah. It asks you questions like, are you outdoorsy, indoorsy, kind of different things like that.
Kind of simple stuff.
To get a feel for who you are so they can hopefully partner you up with people that maybe match your energy or match what you're interested in. So you can actually have things to talk about when you go on this awkward 5-person date.
Yeah.
And SP did it.
Yeah,
he did it.
Yeah, I did.
And today we're going to deep dive into that. I'm very excited about it. We've obviously talked about it a little bit, but I think it's a very interesting concept. It was fun to watch you talk to my dad and my brother about it because they were very interested in it as well. But today we're going to talk about it. And so SP, tell us a little bit about tell us about it. Well, let's start with, where did you go? Let me go back. Listen. It's my first time interviewing. We're good.
You're doing great.
I know. Listen, so you signed up for this app. I want to know, where in the world did you hear about this? Mm-hmm. Like, because I'd never heard about it. Obviously, you introed it to me, but like, where did you even find Time Left?
I don't know. Where do I find the time? You should turn our candle warmer back on because it was on a 2-hour timer. Yeah, candle warmer. Great gift. Hey, if you're a dude listening to this, or anybody, I guess, but if you're looking for a Christmas gift for your lady or for yourself, candle warmer.
And then some candles.
Yeah, and a good candle.
Voluspa candles are good ones, or Bath and Body Works.
Either one. To answer your question, that actually came up at the dinner. The question of where did you hear about it?
Okay, so where'd you hear about it?
Which I thought was not as fun of a question as the question I asked the group, which was, so how did we all find ourselves here?
Yeah.
Deciding that our lives were at the point where we just go to dinner with a bunch of random strangers. I thought that was more entertaining. I found it, I believe, through a podcast, and it wasn't even a sponsorship.
They're just talking about it?
Yeah, I think they mentioned it. I'm pretty sure it was the reboot of Dignation with Alex Albrecht, one of my all-time
Love
faves.
Alex Albrecht.
One of my absolute favorite people. Back to the TRS days, Dignation. Half hour happy hour, which is really what sparked and inspired this show. Even back to the screensavers. So if this ever gets back to Alex, I'm a real one, man.
OG fan. We even went to see you at a
Scum and Villainy Cantina. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, real fan. Anyway, I think it was on that show that I heard about it, and what it was that mixed with you and I talking about this. I was like, why don't they have a version of a dating app, but just for friendships?
Turns out they do.
Yeah, it turns out there's a couple of them.
There's a couple of them, yeah.
And I might try a different one, maybe. Who knows? Spoilers, don't want to get there yet. But so I heard it there, but the rest of the people at the table heard it from, or got it from different places. One was getting there's so much I haven't told you about it yet.
I know.
Targeted YouTube ads was one. Targeted Instagrams was another.
Wow.
A third person was Reddit, believe it or not.
Wow.
Ads on Reddit, to which someone at the table went, I didn't know they were advertising on Reddit. That's so weird. And then the fourth person I don't know.
That was. But you heard about it from a podcast. And
Yes.
obviously it's everywhere. So before we even get into like meeting the people that you went to dinner with, like tell us a little bit about the process.
I'll tell you the process. So Kellie described a little bit of the survey kind of thing, which in my opinion could be, should be, needs to be better, especially in a world of algorithms that know you so well. To
That
have
was
questions,
kinda basic.
yeah, like that, give you basic answers, and then your results can be basic potentially. Anyway, you sign up, you do that little questionnaire, and then it asks a couple different things. Essentially, these dinners happen on Wednesday nights. As far as I know, it's only Wednesday night, and it's only at 7:00. I knew that looking at my schedule, if I was gonna try this within the next month or so, the only Wednesday I had available was the one before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Which also comes into play later. But so you choose whatever date you want, but that's all you know. You choose it's Wednesday at 7:00 and the area.
Yeah, you choose your location and then how like many dollar signs. 1, 2, or 3.
I don't know what it would look like for
One probably at a Taco Bell.
I don't know, because
I'm just
I
kidding.
picked the middle. I picked 2, and they sent us to Bakari, which if you remember from a year ago, we've already been to Bakari. But anyway, I will get there in a second. So basically, you can either sign up for a subscription, or you can pay for a month of dinners, which is up to probably however many Wednesdays, but let's just call it 4 Wednesdays, where you can get into any of those dinners. I think it was about like $25 for a month, maybe 30. Let's call it 30. Or you could do 6 months, which is slightly less per month, but since you're paying for 6 months, you're paying more, just like we all see with our annual subscriptions and stuff.
Yeah.
What I chose to do because of my schedule was there's also a one-time option. And for $16, you essentially get a place at the table. That is not a part of what you pay for the food or the entertainment or whatever. It is just a one-time fee that goes to time left. And that's what got me my ticket to my dinner. And then as you get closer, what?
Keep going.
As you get closer, you start to quote unquote unlock more information. The app, I think on Monday, will start to tell you like, hey, these are the people you're matching, like you're going to have dinner with. And they don't tell you names, no photos, nothing, because you never even have to put that stuff in. You put your name in, but no photo. But it's like you're having dinner with an Aquarius and a Taurus and a Sagittarius and people who work in arts and crypto and accounting, and other things. So it gives you like little details about them, but not. It's very ambiguous and very broad stroke. The next day, I believe they unlock where your dinner is.
At like 9 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, so you can kind of prep for it, which is helpful.
Which is good news because you knew Bakari and so you were comfy.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, Bakari is the one we went to. Kelly and I have been there many times with Troy and Craig, with Scott, with Ashley May. I think you may have been with Dana. I don't know. Lots of people.
Yeah.
It's a good place. I was like, that's kind of a relief. The problem is it's a family style place, and that was a little annoying. Not sure if that's the point of it, but anyway, didn't love that. So on Tuesday, they tell you like where you're going or something. Wednesday, they tell you something else. It might be they have like a little game or something, which are just icebreaker questions we never got to. They tell you something else on the day of, and then when you get there at 7, that game opens up, and then at 8:00, presumably an hour into your dinner, they unlock what's called the last drink, which is like, hey, if this is going well, here's a local bar nearby that you can go to and keep the conversation or the party going or whatever. What I didn't know was that I guess that last drink thing, that location they send you to, is where they send all of the people who had dinners that night in that area.
Yeah, which is crazy.
So that's kind of how it works. That's what, like, all the pieces I had leading up to the actual dinner itself.
There's a lot of information.
You're welcome. Maybe.
So you went to this thing which you were excited about. What were you feeling?
Yeah.
Like walking, were you the first one there?
Duh. I'm not about to get swindled and bamboozled by these strangers. How did I feel getting there? Let me back up even further. The reason I wanted to do this is because it sounded fun. It sounded exciting. It also sounded like something that theoretically I could gather new experiences, and this sounds stupid, but new data and stuff for the things that I do, for the speaking stuff that I do, for anything like that.
Sure.
I mean, most people don't just go out to dinner with strangers.
Yeah.
And the thing that appealed to me about this, other than just that and the potential friendships you can make or just meeting new people, or honestly, even like just the excitement of like going on a date, so to speak. You know what I mean? Even though this very much was not a date.
Sure.
Just all those feelings of, yeah, me and those dudes had a
Just
great
kidding.
time. All those feelings are there. But what drew me to this too was that you can do this in any state. And I was like, well, that's really interesting, especially if I'm trying to kind of get some like general information, like out of 100 dinners that I did across the country, here's what I learned. And so that was exciting. So that's how I got there. And that's how I felt getting there. Once I was there, getting ready to go inside, I definitely wasn't anxious. I was maybe a hint of nervous, not jittery nervous, but I parked a little bit down the way, street parking, because I just don't like to valet if I don't have to. I walk in. I am the first person there. I'm only 5 minutes early at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm taken to a table, and no one's there. It's great. Then I'm like, let me use the restroom before people get here. And then by the time I got back, someone had sat down, and we'll talk about that next week.
No.
Okay.
All right. So tell me a little bit about how, like, who was there?
So we're getting into the real,
Yeah.
the actual experience now. Essentially, here's what happened.
Well, break it down for me.
Oh, you want
girls,
the-
boys? No. There were.
So there was me. Identify me however you will. But of the other group, there was 2 guys and 2 girls.
Okay, cool.
And then there was me, the third guy.
So 3 guys, 2 girls.
So the downside to my experience with this, which I don't think is indicative to the whole thing, is that most of these people were in from out of town for the holiday.
It was Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
week.
It was the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So it makes
which
sense.
makes sense. But also I'm like, hang out with your family, y'all.
They
Like,
don't want to. They want to meet people.
Clearly they did not. 3 out of the 4 of those people worked in tech. I think 2 of them actually live in the Bay Area. So there wasn't a lot of like, oh, this would be a fun friendship, because no one lived there. Like, one girl was going back to Vietnam. One girl was back and forth between here and Arizona, and the other 2 guys were in San Francisco. I was like, I'm the only one who actually lives here. Interesting. My struggle was that they did put me in with just a bunch of tech people, which is fine. I can have that conversation. I can hold my own in that. I know
What did
enough
you say
about
that
it.
your industry was?
That's the other thing. When they, in the little survey that Kelly was talking about, they kind of give broad stuff. So I think I was in arts and entertainment or something.
Yeah, which makes sense. But weird that you put you in with tech. Maybe they're like, they go together. They don't.
Yeah, honestly, maybe they just didn't have enough people. I have no idea. You need a lot
People
of
are out
people
of
to run
town,
this.
yeah.
Yeah, who knows? But let me break it down. The table was nice. There was a woman who I described earlier that was going to Taiwan. That's actually where she's from. She works in crypto. She's very nice. Had a lot of fun stories that she unfortunately didn't share until the end.
Yeah.
I was like, she had a lot of fun. Like, oh yeah, I just went to the Scientology building for fun to see if I could get like an Enneagram test or see if it's real or fake. And they kicked me out because they said I was too negative.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, that's awesome. And then she told me another story about
Yeah.
driving through Colorado where she stopped at some restaurant run by Seven Leaf
Some sort of
Cult
cult,
or
yeah.
something like that. And she got kicked out of there, or they wouldn't serve her or something. It was like, that's stuff I want to hear about. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
But she was cool. The other girl that was sitting next to me, the first girl, we'll call her Tina. I'm not using any real names here. The second girl, very, very cool. The closest to a person you and I would hang out with.
Yeah.
We'll call her Stacy. She works in tech as well, but in the fully electric semi industry.
Dang, like Daimler. Yeah.
Like Daimler that we worked with. Yeah, but this was a different company. I don't remember what it was
That's
called.
okay.
But that's okay. She was cool. And we had the most in common, and we happened to sit next to each other. So when we were able to talk, it was good. But there was one person who,
Did you mention the other person first? The other
not
guy?
yet, who kept interjecting, which we'll
It's
get to
not
him.
me.
No. Let's call him Chad. Chad was definitely the negativity at the table. And it was one of the times where I was reminded that not everybody is like down to play. And some people just have kind of crummy attitudes. And that was this dude who continually interjected himself into places and spaces that totally derailed the conversations or things that you were having. The first thing that caught me off guard was I could tell that he was annoyed by me, because it felt like maybe he was using this as a dating situation. And the 2 girls were sitting on my side of the table. I was between them, and it was easier for me to have conversations with them. Plus, if you're just nice and stuff, people are more willing to have a conversation. And he was a bit abrasive.
Yeah.
And I think he was annoyed by that, because by the time they had all gotten drinks and we cheersed and it was silent, and I'm always looking to facilitate a conversation, I was like, I just recently heard, which wasn't even true. I knew this for a long time. I was like, I recently heard like why we cheers. Do you guys know? Like, have you heard about that before? And everyone's like, maybe. And he goes, I have a feeling you're about to tell us. And I was like,
Jerk.
oh, you're one of those like easily threatened by harmless things kind of people. And it was just that all night. This before I go into more on Chad, this other guy, we'll call him Alex, super nice, a little bit more reserved and introverted, but you could tell it was just the type of person he was. He works in tech. He couldn't have been kinder. He had lots of thoughtful things to say. Very cool, very nice. No notes.
Had Chad not been there, I think it would have been a different night for you.
Yeah, it would have been more enjoyable.
Yeah.
But this dude just kept like doing that, kept derailing the conversation. I was like, who's done this before? And it was kind of in the midst of the question we asked, like, how did we get here? The other thing that was a little discouraging was most of us got here because we fly a lot for work. That was at least 4 out of the 5 of us. That was the case, maybe 5 out of 5. And I was like, oh, this might just be what people like me do.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's less
Not as fun.
Yeah, because I don't want to meet with a bunch of people exactly like me.
Yeah. You want people that are different than you.
Totally. So that was a little bit of a bummer, but not necessarily indicative of the situation. But the reason I say it is because this Chad guy has been on the most of these. He's been on a bunch.
Yeah.
And he was describing kind of how it works. And he essentially was saying things like, yeah, you know, midway through the dinner, like it'll tell you where we can go after this if we want to. But like I've done a lot of these and most of the time no one goes after. Only the people that I convinced to go, like those guys will go, but everyone else just leaves.
It's because you're annoying.
Yeah. And then at the end of dinner, he's like, so are we going to the last drink? I was like, not me.
Yeah.
Not with you, dude.
Yeah.
Especially because it was probably only going to be him and maybe the other guy too. But only him. And there's certain parts of this that I don't even want to include just because they were so icky. But so that was kind of the tone, was like, here's this guy who's grumpy and doesn't really like how this system works and is just kind of here to crap on it, but then also hope to make it good, like hope to draw people in to be a part of it. Like, I'm not going after you told me it's terrible, except for like the people that you convinced to go. Yeah. And I don't want to hang out at a bar with you. Like, you've made this whole dinner unpleasant.
Yeah. My favorite part of this, it was just like jumping ahead, but you had texted me and you were like, the bar is Mr. Furley's, which is where my brother works.
Yeah.
He manages. And you were like, do you want to go?
Yeah.
And I had just gotten home from like hanging with my grandma, my mom and my dad and stuff. And I was like, well, I think I said something like, I mean, like, if you want to, like, do you want to go? Do you have a good time? Like, I'll join you if you want me to, like, but do you want to go? And you were like, not really.
No.
Then I was like, then no, like, I'm going to get in a bath then. No, like, why did you ask me? Do you want to go hang out at this bar with this person that I don't like, even though I don't really want to go? Do you want to do it?
I thought it
so
might be
funny.
a bigger group. At that point, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And there's 2 things going for me. One, Sean worked there. So I was like, that'd be cool. And 2, I was like, if you're still out and about and you're at your mom's house, you haven't made it home, maybe you can just meet me there. And you already talked about kind of wanting to be involved.
Yeah. And had I been at my parents' house still, I probably would have been like, yeah, I'll meet you there. Yeah. But I truly just like walked in the door and turned the bath on. Also,
though, I don't think you know this. There's more than one Mr. Furley's, and this was not the one that Sean
I think this is not the one he works
at. So
it
would not.
Yeah.
It would have been just a
terrible.
failure on every single level.
Yeah, would have been like, he's not even at this one.
Yeah. So that was kind of the gist of that. I still had I know I haven't even really gotten into it, but it's because it kind of turned into a bummer.
Yeah.
Like, it was a little bit of all the same, like, where are you from? What do you do? And I understand that most people aren't down to be silly or even deep that fast.
Yeah.
But I do know this about me, that like, I really don't care about the superfluous stuff.
Yeah.
And I do enough small talk. Mm-hmm. Well, I do enough small talk with your business and my business and that kind of stuff. Like, oh man, great to see you. What you been up to? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like kind of what we experienced with Peter and Kate. And I think it's what made our relationship better than what it was. And what it is now is like, we finally got to this point where we're like, are we going to talk about anything other than work? And we got into like real questions about our life. Like my question of, am I okay?
Yeah.
Like, that was shocking to find out I was the only one asking myself that. But that's where I want to be and where I want to get to.
Yeah. And unfortunately for you, I think that what you're describing is probably pretty similar to most people's online dating experience.
And I had that realization.
Or dating app experience, I should say. It's like, you're not always going to click with everybody.
But even further than that, I do this sometimes. I kind of put myself in the shoes of either of the women that were there, imagining if I had showed up to this, like if it was a date, like with me and Chad.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I would have left.
Can't imagine.
I wasn't even there.
It's so easy to say that, But you've been in crappy dating situations and stuff, or like blind dates or things that you know aren't working. And
Yeah, but
the idea of just getting up to leave when you're in the situation, pretty hard.
I'm older now though, and I mean, it would probably take a lot for me to be like, I'm done if I felt uncomfortable or if he said something stupid. But like from what you've described, I mean, I know we're probably not going to get into all of that stuff on this podcast because I know it was just a lot. From what you've described Chad to be and like what he did and the kind of some of the things he said, I told you. I was surprised you didn't say anything, and you were like, I didn't want to be an a-hole, but I was like, I'm just surprised because like for someone to be like to say something like that, oh, I bet you're going to tell us, and to keep doing that all night long as an independent, strong female who is, I'm already, if I'm going to this thing, I'm already saying like, I'm not talking about
You're putting yourself out there.
Yeah, I'm already putting myself out there. I'm already doing this thing. I've probably told myself like, if I'm feeling uncomfortable, I'll leave at this point or whatever. Right. But like, what do I have to lose? I'm never going to see these people again. At some point in time, I probably would be like, can you just shut up? Or like, are you going to say anything nice?
Yeah. Honestly, that's a great response. My experience at the table though, was my perception was everyone at the table was feeling the same, like understood that he was being a jerk.
Yeah. But sometimes you need to be told that.
Yes. But I had the sensation and feeling that if I was that person,
then you'd be the jerk.
It hadn't gotten far enough or overt enough to be the person who's like, man, you know, it'd be awesome if you said something kind.
Yeah, but you could be like, it's obvious that you don't want to be here.
Even so though like, you've done it the most.
So yeah, don't bring it down for all of us. Like you're really making this a not enjoyable experience. I don't know if you know that, but like, because you don't want to be here, it's obviously, it's very much coming across that way to us.
I did get a jab in later, but I don't want to mention that because it gives up too much of information about that person.
Are you sure?
But it was good enough. Actually, you know, one jab and one just keeping a woman safe, which is what I care about.
Yeah, which is great.
But I think that's all I should say about that. Here's what I want to truly say though. It's complicated because the idea is so good.
Yeah.
Yet I'm not sure if the execution is there. Also, Chad had been on the highest price point dates, dinners, whatever. And he said his experience was you end up mostly with attorneys, like lawyers.
That's fun.
Is it? Because they're going, I'm a lawyer, I'm very busy and very important. I don't have time for friendships. And you end up at a table with like 5 attorneys and you're like, oh, this is, if I want to have like good, fun conversation, I don't think I'm going to get it with 5 attorneys at a fish house or something. So I don't think the algorithm is totally there. But I also found out that there's a couple different apps that do the same thing, at least one of which has a screening like system as well as a like either a more in-depth interview or an actual like interview with a person.
Yeah.
And that sounds a little more appealing to me.
You should do that one.
So do you have any more specific questions?
Who is the hottest?
Let me see of my made up names. I mean, it's definitely between Stacy and Tina.
Yeah, probably. Chad.
I'll tell you, Alex is a good looking guy.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. This is a joke. Who would you go out with again? Who gets the rose? I'm
absolutely.
Just kidding.
No, well, absolutely Stacy. Really? I would have I told you we would have all had a good time.
Yeah.
It would have been great.
Yeah.
Although I would have gone with Tina because I wanted more stories, but she said she didn't have any.
Story. Oh yeah. Would you do it again on time left?
Would I do it again? Look, am I glad I did it? Yes. Was it a good experience? No. Would I do it again? Yes. And I think
isn't that just life? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if you're interested in something like this, I think this is a relatively safe way to do that.
Yeah.
If you're doing something nefarious, just don't do anything bad. But I'm saying like if you want to expand your social circles or just try something new. I was telling this to my sister recently. I was like, I've been trying to shift my perspective mentally from what have I accomplished and where am I at in terms of my goals, my life goals? Like, am I far enough in my career at the age that I am? I've tried to shift away from that and shift into this idea of trying to collect experiences.
Yeah.
Because there is no end goal.
No.
Like, I know that even if I got everything I wanted professionally, I would still be like, should we write a book? What do we do?
Yeah,
like, it's never going to stop.
Now? Yeah.
But if I can just collect experiences
yeah.
until I beat the game,
Yep.
which inevitably will beat me. But if I can just collect experiences, like that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's fun. So I honestly will do it again. Almost certainly. I want to try it in different states too and see if it's different in different locations and price points. I don't think I would pick North Hollywood and the Valley this time. I would pick, I don't know, I have to look at their options. Brentwood? Nah, probably not.
Who knows?
But if you're interested in it, I think it's certainly worth the money. I don't know if it'll be worth your time, but if for $16 you could find yourself at a dinner with some interesting people, if you're the type of person that either is looking for that type of company or you're an extrovert who's willing to facilitate a conversation, you'll have a good time. I was
Yeah.
talking to your dad about it. And if you hate it, you can just up and leave.
Yeah, you don't have to stay. Just say, here's my money.
Oh, yeah, here's my part of the bill.
Here's part of the bill because you have to pay.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, once you've shown up to the dinner, you've already paid the app for the service.
Yeah.
Now you're just at a dinner.
Yeah.
So I think if anyone's interested in it, it's called Time Left, and you can check it out. There's another one that I was told might be called 222. Don't quote me on that, but look it up, I guess, if you're interested. I'm going to look that up because I think it's the better one and the higher screener one. But honestly, I do not regret doing it.
Good.
I'd be happy to do it again. I would like to have dinner with 100 people and write a book about it, but
You could.
or incorporate it into speaking. Who knows?
What I learned.
But do I have any time left for time left?
Maybe.
Maybe. But do I have time left for meeting new people and trying new things?
Of course.
For sure. So that was my date with 4 strangers.
4 strangers. Not 5, but 4.
Just like my wife, who's always right side.
That's right. Well, I really think it's really cool that you did that. Honestly, you, out of the two of us, I'm the one that tends to go out and do more things by myself or with like friends.
I mean,
so I was
by
really
leaps and bounds.
And I was really proud of you for going and doing that. I'm excited to see what you do next and if you keep doing that. And I appreciate you sitting down and talking to me about it and sharing your experience. I know there's so many more stories that you could tell.
There's so much
about that. And I'm sure we'll get into that another time if you choose to go to the different one. Maybe we'll compare and contrast. Maybe we'll have like success stories of a friendship you walk away with and they'll be on the podcast. Who knows?
But of course, chat. I thought about that. I was like, what if I asked one person from every dinner to be on the podcast?
No.
Not here, but like via Zoom.
Yeah, no.
No?
I mean, who are you going to ask from this one?
Stacy.
Yeah, but not anymore. You don't have a phone number.
Yeah, let me tell you this. It went so poorly that nobody was like, should we exchange Instagrams or phone number? Everyone was like, bye. And here's the deal. I actually don't think it went bad. I just know that one bad apple.
Yeah, if
bunch.
Chad wouldn't have been there, do you think it would have been better?
Yes. I think it would have been fun and playful and charming. But much like me, but there's Chads everywhere.
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
gotta get past him.
To get to a dinner with no Chad, like there's more Chads than there are Kellies, however you want to say it. So I think you have to figure out how to deal with that type of personality if you're going to put yourself out there. But isn't that, I don't know anymore because I haven't dated in a long time, but isn't that what dating is like too? Is like, you just got to put yourself out there and see what another person's personality is like and see if it works. Yeah. This is safer than dating. I'm not saying you should use it for dating or if it even makes sense for dating. Yeah. In fact, I was talking to Ryan and he was like, this doesn't make sense for dating because essentially to change or convert a female friend into a female romance, he's like, it's very difficult.
But it is a safe way to meet people that you haven't met before. And if you hit it off, like,
it's good.
Then you had good chemistry. Then you might not be friends. You might just like go be like, hey, I'd love to take this one-on-one. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
Because he said the hardest part is to actually get people to want to meet in person because girls are just scared nowadays.
Sure.
So I don't know. But I was going to say, it reminds me of like when we talked about courting. It's kind of that, but for like this secular world, for lack of a way to say that.
It's a friend date. But it's not. It's not supposed to be that.
Yeah, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I was hoping I'd come out with some good connections, friendship or industry or even just different industries.
But you get lots of no's before you get a yes.
And that's it. That's what life's about is working with the yeses.
Yeah.
Looking for those green lights. All right.
Any parting wisdom or words you want to leave us with before we get out of here?
Yes. You and only you are responsible for your happiness.
Truth.
Are you tired of hearing me say that?
No.
Tough, because that's life, baby. If you're not happy,
no,
go meet 5 new strangers and have dinner and see what happens. Shake things up a bit. If you're feeling like, what am I doing here? Or I hate this about myself or my life or whatever, only you can change it.
Change it up, yeah.
Do something
Try something
different.
new.
If you feel like you've tried it all, do something different. Break away. Get out of your bedroom. Get into the world.
Yeah.
Go take a photograph of the sky. Do whatever you need to. But just remember, if you're not happy, that is a you problem, and only you can fix it.
True.
And we'll be here to help encourage you on the way.
Yeah.
But since you asked for closing thoughts, those are the closing thoughts I have for today.
It's a good one, babe.
Thanks.
Well, I've had fun. Have you had fun?
I had a great time. Not as great of a time as I had at the dinner. Not gonna lie. It was way better there than it was here.
Yeah.
Way better. I had a great time.
Well, thanks for hardly working through it with me about and breaking down your date with 4 strangers.
Wasn't a date.
Your hang with 4 strangers.
Yeah. Also, I didn't mention this. I don't know that I go to a let's share food place
Again, yeah.
for strangers. I know I mentioned it earlier. It was
weird.
just weird to be like, I'm going to order something that I guess I'm going to offer to you guys.
Yeah.
So I didn't eat very much.
It's okay. That's fine. Next time will be better. Have better boundaries.
Yeah, because I'm going to have you there at the bar. And then if it gets boring, I'm going to be like, I'm going to go see if I can get a girlfriend.
Yeah, there you
And I'll
go.
be like, hey. And then we can start like making out.
Yeah, there you go.
Like,
That'd be fun.
We'll see you guys
That'd be a story.
later.
Yeah.
And if you're not available, I'll bring Randy to do the same thing. It'll be even
Better.
different.
Crazy. Yeah. It'd be great.
All right. You ready to take off?
Yep.
All right. We love you guys. Hope you
Love
had a
you.
good time on Hardly Working Through It. I love you.
I love you.
And we love you
I
guys.
love you.
Hope you spend most of your time
Hardly working.
through it. Bye. I really thought you were going to have it up there. There it is. Bye.